Are bracing rather for President Trump's deadline tonight. They are also concerned about what the future might hold. CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay spoke with members of one of the opposition groups outside of Iran, the MEK, or the People's Mujahedeen of Iran. So, Chris, what did you learn about this group?
Hey, Vlad, that's right. I've been speaking to the political wing of this group. Now, they are funded by exiled Iranians in the West, and that's despite having once being listed as a terror organization by the United States. But today they present themselves as a democratic alternative to the current leadership in Iran. They espouse pro-Western values. Their leader, Maryam Rajavi, is a woman, for instance, and they reject theocracy outright. Now, in recent days, Iranian authorities have executed several people accused of having ties to this group, including the young man you should be seeing on screen, Vahid Bani Amarian. He was recorded just after he was sentenced to death. Now, many Iranians view this group as deeply controversial, especially over long-standing accusations that they sided with Saddam Hussein in the Iran-Iraq war. In other words, turning on their own people. At least that's as far as the suspicion is concerned. But it's a charge that they flatly deny. I spoke to their spokesman, Shaheen Gobadi.
This is also one of those, as I said, baseless allegations that if you go back to the primary source of all these allegations, you would see they are the mullahs, or as I said, they're lobbyists. And as I mentioned, they are done with a very, very sinister political objective to make it as though that Iran has no viable democratic alternative. Now, regarding aligning with the mullahs, this is not true. We fought against the Shah. From day one, we challenged the regime on one issue, and I think that's the key issue, freedom in Iran. The National Council of Resistance of Iran is a coalition of Iranian democratic opposition movements, which is both against the Shah and against the mullahs' despotism, trying to bring about a democratic, secular republic in Iran. We think the ultimate solution, Chris, will come down to a regime change, but that will be done by the Iranian people and the organized resistance at its core. I think 1 month after the war has begun, it's quite evident that the bombing is not going to bring about a regime change.
Only once the bombs stop falling.
Naturally, I mean, you cannot expect an uprising in the middle of the bombing. When the war finishes, the regime in a much weaker situation, and people will basically take the fate and future in their own hands.
Now, the group has managed to gain traction in some very influential circles in the West and in Washington, D.C. Among them, drawing support from former NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark, for instance. And this comes amid a much broader crackdown on political dissidents and just citizens at large in Iran. Human rights groups say that at least a dozen political prisoners have been executed since the start of 2026, and some estimates put the number of people executed in Iran at around 160 or more since the start of the year. And that's not counting the 30,000 plus Iranians who were killed around those protests back in January. Vlad, Kelly.
It's fascinating insight into that group. Chris, as always, thank you very much for your reporting. Appreciate it.